I'm Alana and welcome to Button Bash. The Dota International has finally wrapped up and man was it huge. For those who don't know, Dota 2 is a free-to-play online multiplayer game that blends real-time strategy, role-playing, a whole lot of farming and a handful of similar features to physical sports too, like soccer. Its official genre is MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena. Each match takes place on a square battleground with two bases in the upper right and lower left corners, and two teams basically have to destroy something from the other team's base to win, using a handful of different characters or heroes with different perks and shortcomings. The International is like the SuperBowl of eSports. It's the biggest gaming tournament ever, with the 2014 edition having an overall prize pool of over 10 million. The main event just wrapped up, taking place from July 18th to 21st at the Key Arena in Seattle. All Chinese team Newbie ended up winning the tournament, with over 5 million of the major prize pool going straight to those 5 players. Newbie's team is actually a pretty fresh lineup, with their most recent player being added in April, and 2014 was their first international as a team. Overall, Newbie is made up of members from other high-profile Chinese Dota teams who came together to make a fairly unstoppable force, for the latter half of the international anyway. Newbie landed the spot in the grand finals after beating Vici Gaming and Evil Geniuses on the first day, though Vici made it to the end too. Ukrainian team Navi, and my personal favourites, and the previous winners of the International ended up being knocked out by Cloud9, a team with members from the Netherlands, Romania and Sweden who were also at their first ever International. The LGD were knocked out by previous champions Invictus Gaming, who are both Chinese teams too. Apparently the Chinese are just really good at Dota. LGD lasted a fair while there until being taken out by Chinese team DK, who were at their third International. Vici then took out Team DK and then the North American Evil Geniuses shortly after to secure their spot in the final against Newbie. Vici's final match against Evil Geniuses finished in just 15 minutes. It was brutal. Vici were actually top ranked by this point, even though they had lost their previous match to Newbie. Newbie themselves actually struggled a little during Phase 2 of the tournament with a losing record of 7-8, but absolutely cleaned up over Phase 3 with 5 consecutive wins. Vici won the first match in the finals, but Newbie ended up winning 3 straight games after that to become the international champions. Fortunately though, Vici won't go home empty-handed. They won a second place prize of 1.5 million. It was actually kind of devastating to watch. Vici Gaming, after being beaten, picked the same heroes repeatedly even though it wasn't working. Then the third game started and they just seemed to be picking aggressive heroes in some kind of desperation, while Newbie stuck to a more balanced selection and ultimately destroyed Vici as a result. While I have played a fair bit of Dota 2, this is my first time paying a lot of attention to the International, and I've got to say it was phenomenal. The atmosphere eclipsed any other sports game I've seen on TV or even been to, so going to see the tournament live is totally on my bucket list now. Watch out world, eSports is going to have a big impact over the years to come. Goblin techies who were present in the original Dota mod for Warcraft 3 were also kind of announced during the All-Star match at the International. RTZ from the team Evil Geniuses picked Sniper for the match originally, and the crowd actually outright booed. I would have too, screw that guy. But then the character dramatically changed over to techies and there was a sweet pyrotechnics display on stage to welcome in the new Dota 2 character. RTZ was technically the first player ever to play Dota 2 with the techies, and it was live before a giant audience. I wish I was there to see that, I've got to say. Valve sure know how to put on a show. Of course, we knew techies would be coming eventually. All original Dota characters are set to be ported over to Dota 2, we just don't know quite when. We also don't know exactly when the techies will be made publicly available, but we can expect the same kind of defensive abilities as before, which made them pretty unbalanced in the first game. These include landmines, which work just as you'd expect. They're invisible and they explode when enemies are nearby. Remote mines, which are kind of similar to landmines, except that these need to be manually detonated instead of constantly being active. The Stasis Trap, which plants an invisible trap that stuns nearby enemy units when detonated. And fan favorite, Suicide Squad Attack, which basically turns the goblins into a suicide team and deals a huge area of effect damage, with 650 damage at the first level. It's an absolute killer in the early stages of the game. I'm Alana, and thanks for watching this special Dota International episode of Button Bash.